There's a cruiser motorcycle that everyone's been talking about on the Yamanoob channel. They say you gotta try it, you gotta ride it, you've been dunking on it, you've been talking mad crap about it every other week, Yami. We're sick of it.
Not every motorcycle becomes a bestseller. Some Japanese bikes hit the market with big promises, then completely flop. Whether it's odd styling, poor timing, or just bad luck, these machines are gathering dust in showrooms across the country. Dealers are desperate to move them, offering huge discounts and crazy deals. Here are 14 Japanese motorcycles dealers can't sell, so they're giving them away. The Suzuki Boulevard C50 was designed to be an affordable entry-level cruiser with classic looks and easygoing performance. Powered by an 805 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled V-twin engine, it delivered 45 horsepower and 46 pound-feet of torque, enough for relaxed city rides and light highway cruising. But despite solid reliability, the C50 struggled to stand out. It weighed over 600 pounds, offered only a 5-speed transmission, and lacked the performance and visual punch many cruiser fans expect. Priced around $9,299, it found itself competing with used Harley-Davidson Sportsters and Indian Scouts, bikes with stronger brand appeal and a bigger aftermarket. The C50's styling felt more dated than timeless, and it didn't offer much room for customization or upgrades. Riders wanted more attitude, more power, or more tech, and the C50 had none of it. Even though it was dependable and beginner-friendly, it was often overlooked. Today, it's one of those bikes dealers quietly discount just to move units. The Yamaha FJ09 was introduced in 2015 as a sport touring evolution of the popular MT-09. It featured an 847 cubic centimeter inline triple engine, making 115 horsepower and 65 pound-feet of torque. Punchy, lightweight, and full of character. On paper, it looked like the perfect all-rounder, but in the real world, it didn't quite land. The FJ09 struggled with identity. Sport bike riders found it too upright, while touring riders missed features like cruise control, wind protection, and shaft drive. The early models had twitchy throttle response, a firm seat, and a short windscreen, issues that hurt comfort on longer rides. At $10,490, it competed in a crowded middleweight class. Riders spending that much often chose more refined machines, like the Tracer 900, its eventual replacement, or adventure bikes with better tech. Despite its strong engine and versatility, the FJ09 got lost in the gray zone, and dealers eventually marked it down to clear floors. The Kawasaki Z125 Pro was built to take on the mini moto craze, aiming directly at Honda's wildly popular Grom. It featured a 125 cubic centimeter air-cooled single-cylinder engine, producing 9 horsepower and 7 pound-feet of torque. Enough for city riding and stunts in tight spaces, but it never gained the same traction. While the Z125 Pro was lightweight, affordable, and fun, it lacked the massive community and aftermarket support that made the Grom a cultural hit. Customization options were limited, and the styling, though aggressive, didn't make a lasting impression. At $3,599, it was priced similarly to the Grom, but without the same brand momentum or social media buzz. Performance was comparable, but buyers wanted more than specs. They wanted a scene. Despite being a solid little bike, the Z125 Pro often got overlooked. Many dealers still have leftover stock, offering steep discounts just to make room for models that actually sell. The Honda Grom burst onto the scene with its playful design, compact size, and cult-like appeal. Early models featured a 125 cubic centimeter air-cooled single-cylinder engine, producing just 9 horsepower and 8 pound-feet of torque. But that was part of the charm. It was lightweight, easy to ride, and made urban commuting feel like a game. But as time went on, those early versions began to show their limitations. Basic suspension, underwhelming brakes, and minimal tech made the first-gen Grom feel dated compared to newer mini-motos. Riders wanted digital displays, LED lighting, and better handling, all of which later models delivered. At $3,599, the original Grom was cheap fun, but quickly outclassed. The market evolved, and so did expectations. Today, many dealers still sit on early Grom inventory. They're quirky, reliable, and a blast to ride. But next to the updated versions, those early models just don't move like they used to. The Honda CB1010 was Honda's tribute to the golden age of motorcycling. Classic looks, modern engineering. It came with a 1,148 cubic centimeter air-cooled inline-4 engine, making 89 horsepower and 66 pound-feet of torque. Smooth, refined, and built with Honda's usual attention to quality. But that refinement was also its downfall. Weighing over 550 pounds and priced around $12,399, the CB1010 was too tame for thrill seekers and too expensive for nostalgic riders. While it had retro charm, round headlamp, analog gauges, and chrome accents, it lacked the raw edge that makes classic bikes exciting. Younger riders ignored it, and older enthusiasts leaned toward used vintage models or more charismatic alternatives like Triumph's Bonneville. It was beautifully made, but didn't evolve over its lifespan. It sat in a no man's land, too modern to be old school, too old school to feel modern. Dealers eventually had to slash prices, stuck with a bike that looked great, but didn't sell. For years, the Kawasaki Ninja 250 was the beginner sport bike. Lightweight, forgiving, and affordable, it introduced thousands to two wheels. Powered by a 248 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine, making 29 horsepower and 18 pound-feet of torque. It was simple and easy to ride, but the market moved on, and the Ninja 250 didn't. Its carbureted fueling system felt outdated in a world of fuel injection. Cold starts, frequent tuning, and lackluster performance made it feel more like homework than fun. New riders expected more tech, better braking, and modern design, and the Ninja 250 couldn't deliver. Priced around $4,499 at launch, it was once a smart buy. But bikes like the Ninja 400 and Yamaha R3 arrived, offering sharper looks, more power, and far better handling. The Ninja 250 helped shape the entry-level sport bike segment, but today, it's a slow seller. Dealers moved on, and so did the riders. The Yamaha Bolt RSpec was Yamaha's answer to the Harley-Davidson Sportster, a stripped-down, urban-styled cruiser with attitude. Powered by a 942 cubic centimeter air-cooled V-twin, it produced 53 horsepower and 59 pound-feet of torque. Delivering strong low-end pull and smooth city cruising. On paper, it looked like a winner. It featured blacked-out finishes, a bobber-style seat, piggyback shocks, and tight handling. But despite solid build quality and reliability, it never gained serious traction. At $8,899, it sat in direct competition with Harley's Iron 883 and Indian's Scout 60, bikes with stronger brand loyalty and deeper aftermarket support. While the Bolt was a great ride, it lacked the emotional pull cruiser buyers often seek. Customization was limited, and Yamaha didn't push the model hard. Over time, it faded from showroom floors. Today, the Bolt RSpec is one of those bikes that dealers quietly discount, not because it's bad, but because buyers simply looked elsewhere. The Honda DN01 looked like it rolled straight out of a sci-fi movie. With its futuristic bodywork, stretched-out lines, and low-slung stance, it defied traditional categories. Powered by a 680 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled V-twin, producing 61 horsepower and 47 pound-feet of torque, it paired with Honda's human-friendly transmission a fully automatic, continuously variable transmission gearbox. But that's where the confusion began. Was it a scooter, a cruiser, a sport bike? Riders didn't know, and most didn't want to find out. The lack of manual control alienated experienced riders, while the bulky size and high price, around $15,599, scared off new ones. It was too relaxed for sport bike fans, and too strange for cruiser enthusiasts. Despite its smooth ride and easy handling, the DN01 couldn't justify its cost. Or identity. Dealers were stuck with a motorcycle no one asked for. Today, it's remembered as a bold experiment, one that never made it past the showroom floor. The Honda CTX700 was built with comfort, ease, and practicality in mind, featuring a 670 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine with 48 horsepower and 44 pound-feet of torque. It was tuned for smooth, low-end delivery and relaxed cruising. The optional DCT automatic transmission made it even more beginner-friendly, but the simplicity came at a cost. Cruiser fans found it too quiet and tame, while sport riders wanted more punch. The futuristic styling with forward controls and a tall fairing didn't help either. It looked part scooter, part cruiser, and didn't fully satisfy either camp. At $7,699, it was affordable, but offered little emotional appeal. Riders looking for attitude or power quickly looked elsewhere, and experienced motorcyclists found it forgettable. Despite Honda's reliability and comfort-focused design, the CTX700 struggled to find a real fanbase. It was practical, but not desirable. Today, it's one of those bikes you'll find on the sales floor, with a hefty discount attached. The Yamaha R6 was a legend in the supersport world, lightweight, razor-sharp, and track-ready. Powered by a 599 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine, producing 123 horsepower and 42 pound-feet of torque. It was built for high-revving thrills and absolute precision, but that track-focused design became its downfall. The aggressive riding position, stiff suspension, and peaky power band made it punishing for daily riding. It excelled at full throttle, but felt uncomfortable in traffic or on longer rides. As emissions regulations tightened and the supersport market shrank, the R6 began to fade. Priced at $12,299 in its final years, it entered the territory of more versatile sport bikes and adventure machines. Yamaha eventually pulled the plug on the street-legal version after 2020. Dealers were left with bikes too aggressive for most riders and too niche for the masses. The R6 will always be respected, but in today's market, it's more museum piece than must-have. The Suzuki Hayabusa Gen 3 carries a legendary name, once the fastest production motorcycle on Earth, powered by a 1,340 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine, pushing 187 horsepower and 110 pound-feet of torque. It rockets from 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. It's a weapon in a straight line, but in today's market, speed isn't everything. The Gen 3 Hayabusa is heavy, expensive, and overbuilt for real-world riding. At $18,799, it demands a serious financial commitment, plus high insurance costs and pricey maintenance. Riders looking for versatility often lean toward adventure bikes or sport tourers. While it received modern tech like ride modes, quick shifter, and improved brakes, it still feels like a niche machine. Great for drag strips, awkward in daily traffic. The legend lives on, but the demand doesn't. Dealers are finding it harder to move these beasts. The Kawasaki Vulcan S was built to be a modern, approachable cruiser with sporty DNA. Powered by a 649 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine from the Ninja 650. It produced 61 horsepower and 46 pound-feet of torque, smooth, efficient, and beginner-friendly. But that Ninja heart didn't win over cruiser purists. Cruiser riders expect deep rumble and low-end grunt from a V-twin, not a rev-happy twin that feels more commuter than cruiser. The Vulcan's styling also leaned minimalist and modern, which didn't resonate with fans of chrome and muscle. Even with Kawasaki's clever ErgoFit system and a low seat height, it landed in an awkward space. Too refined for traditional cruiser buyers, too relaxed for sport riders. Priced around $7,399, it competed with used Harleys and more charismatic rivals. Despite being reliable and customizable, it never built a passionate following. Today, the Vulcan S is a solid ride, but one that dealerships often struggle to move. The Honda NM4 Voltus looked like it came straight out of a sci-fi anime, and that was intentional. With stretched-out bodywork, a low-slung silhouette, and an oversized front fairing, it didn't resemble anything else on the road. Power came from a 670 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine, producing 47 horsepower and 44 pound-feet of torque, paired with Honda's smooth DCT automatic transmission. But while it looked bold, it didn't ride that way. The feet-forward position, low seat, and scooter-like handling made it awkward for long rides and uninspiring for thrill seekers. At 562 pounds, it was also heavier than it looked. Priced at $11,299, the NM4 cost more than most mid-range cruisers, but offered less power and less customization potential. Riders weren't sure what it was, and most didn't care to find out. It became a showroom novelty. Too weird for the mainstream, too mild for the bold. Dealers still struggle to find it a home. The Suzuki GSXS1000F was built to deliver GSXR performance in a more street-friendly, comfortable package. Under the fairing sat a 999 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine, making 148 horsepower and 78 pound-feet of torque. Derived from the GSXR 1000, but tuned for smoother mid-range power. It sounded great on paper, but struggled in practice. The ergonomics were too aggressive for true touring, yet too upright for sport bike purists. Handling felt soft under pressure, and the bulky front fairing didn't help its image, more commuter than canyon carver. At $13,149, it landed between upright nakeds and high-end sport tourers, without offering a clear identity. Rivals like Yamaha's Tracer 9 and Kawasaki's Ninja 1000 SX offered more refinement, tech, and comfort for the price. Despite a powerful engine and solid reliability, the GSXS1000F never carved out a niche. It wasn't bad, it just didn't excite. And that left dealers with inventory they couldn't move fast enough.